Greetings, YouTube. JoLynn Hausman is a member of the Keller School District Board of Trustees, and Miss Hausman posted on her Facebook page the following quote. "Do you realize that so few voters took the time and responsibility to vote in municipal elections? You now have a Muslim on the city council!" 3 exclamation points. "What a shame!" 5 exclamation points. Though she put Muslim in quotes, so I don't know what that means. I believe the person in question is actually, in fact, a Muslim. The first comment, though, was a work of beauty. "Do you realize because so few voters took the time and responsibility to vote in school board elections, you now have an idiot on the school board? What a shame," with the appropriate number of exclamation points. And this is a toss-off article, really, in all honesty. Ms. Hausman will probably be censored, will probably be asked to resign, will probably resign. Ms. Hausman has removed the comment from her Facebook page shortly thereafter posting it, because realizing that she made herself look like a raving bigot, because apparently Ms. Hausman is in fact a raving bigot. But it got me thinking, as well as a number of other comments I've seen here on YouTube in the past week or so, about social conservatives' lack of understanding about the First Amendment. Now, the First Amendment has a section which is often referred to as the Establishment Clause, which says that the United States government cannot establish a religion. That, the government has to stay out of the religious business. The classic separation of church and state. And in America, everyone can practice whatever religious belief they want to, regardless of what the majority is. Ms. Hausman doesn't seem to grasp that. It would be really great if she did. It would be really nice if she had, say, read the First Amendment and had a grasp of what it meant. But she didn't. And she seems to think, and I've encountered many social conservatives that seem to hold the same position, that unless you are a member of the majority of the religious population in America, you have no business here. That your religion can be marginalized and just ignored. Because, let's face it, if you're not the majority, then we can ignore you. Americans have a disturbing tendency to do that with minority groups. Then again, many majorities have a disturbing tendency to do that within minority groups, regardless of who the majority is or what the minority is in question. There are countries in the world where there really are dominant Muslim populations, and Jewish and Christian religions are in the minority, and they are equally discriminated against. But in America, Christians rule. They make up 78% of the population. And yet they have a constant and unending persecution complex and an absolute lack of understanding of the very amendment that gives them their own right to religious freedom. All religions are treated equally. As far as the government is concerned, they are the same. To use a modern bit of parlance, it's net neutrality when it comes to religions. All packets of data are viewed equally. The United States, we actually had net neutrality in America. That's beside the point. And if you ask social conservatives in America, and who are almost always Christian, and if they're not Christian, they're probably going to be Jewish or Muslim, because social conservatives seem to really grow out of the Abrahamic religions I've seen. There really seems to be a connection there. And I wish it weren't, but it is true. And if you ask them what religion you would like to see run the country, you're not going to get a solid answer. Because even the most radical conservative, social conservative, is going to realize that if he says, "my denomination of Christianity," that's going to marginalize all the people that aren't a member of his particular or her particular version of Christianity, their denomination. In particular in America, because there are so many different varieties of Christianity, there are some 200 plus versions of the Bible, let alone all the different groups that can use the same book to create their own type of religious belief. If you ask them about these questions, they have to probably admit that, well, maybe their particular branch of Christianity is not the majority. They may be Christian, and they may be a member of the overall Christian community, but their particular variety may be the minority. And they don't like to think about that. They also realize that many people who aren't a member of their denomination would probably disagree. So when you start getting down to brass tacks, when you start trying to, parse the details, suddenly things start getting really vague because they realize that they would disenfranchise all of their potential allies. They just want this kind of generic Christian Taliban. They want this generic Christian Sharia law. Because that's what they want. Many social conservatives in America want Christian Sharia law. Now, if you call it that, they'll say, no, Sharia law, that's got to do with the Muslims. But if you look at the talking points put forth by Muslim Sharia law, and you look at the talking points put forth by Christian theistic zealots that want a theocracy, what they want is really close to the same thing. It's just one group calls it Islamic faith, and one group calls it Christian faith. And they don't seem to realize they're talking about basically the same thing. So, I would love if Americans would read the Bill of Rights. Really, I would. Read the Constitution. Read the Bill of Rights. Okay? And the first one tells you that we have religious freedom. Article 1. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. And yes, I really do keep a copy of this in my drawer at arm's reach. I'd love if Americans would read that more often. It would be awesome. I would love even more if they understood it.